Good morning, everyone. Hello, Tracy.
Hi, Sue.
How are you, everyone? Thank you for being here. Please say hello to us. Tell us where you are from. I am sitting in Hungary. Tracy is sitting in the UK. Tell us where you are at. Say a little hello to us. We're going to wait a few more seconds. We see people are arriving. Thankfully, hopefully, we are bringing you a very interesting problem and solution today. So, let's see. First of all, is Tracy, how did you get this topic to be one of your favorite, and it became ours favorite?
I think it's because I became more and more aware how it was sabotaging my days and was present in everything I was doing and was bursting every bubble of every dream and stopping anything that I wanted happening, and was manifesting the exact opposite of everything that I wanted. It was almost like having a giant leech. It was literally sucking my blood force out of me all the time. And the more that I kind of focused on it, the more leeches I seemed to have on my abundance, you know.
Isn't it? So shall we say that the problem today is basically that we have painful thinking in our head, right? And these painful thinking are coming from past painful events. How we are thinking back to these painful events in the past. Has it happened with you also?
Absolutely. And part of it, there's that. And also, the minute they surface again, we just push them down, and then something else happens. We push them down. You know, it's like overfilling a sausage. We just carry on pushing this tension resistance down and down and down. And at some point, something has to happen.
Yeah. And see, what happens is people don't realize I used to carry all that in my stomach. And you know, it can be a heavy chest when you think back about these painful events in your past. Should that be in your relationship, a loss of something, could be pressure or a heartache or heavy heart. Then you all of a sudden you get weak, so you get low mood, and then you give up.
Absolutely.
And then you become ill also, because you need to have an illness.
Absolutely.
Then what happens next? Shaking, crying, sadness. Okay, then you start to blame yourself that you possibly deserve that. Okay, and then you go over with your sadness into resenting what happened. Then you carrying this resentment to start blaming other people.
Absolutely.
And then you become angry, you start to hate, and you start to have ill will towards everyone and yourself. And then you need to have a fix me up from outside because the tension is so great, the pressure is so great. Did you experience that also, this cycle as I just went through?
Absolutely. And I think one of the things in that cycle, you also become very busy, and it's it's pushing. There's never any stillness or time to reflect on what's going on. And you're so right. We get into victimhood. We get into our egoic victimhood, and it's everybody else's problem. Everybody else is wrong. We forget about our own personal responsibility, and the focus is all on what we don't want. And it just grows and grows. And this is, and from my experience, it grows in two ways. It grows to a point of mental health issues or physical health issues. And even if you get outside help at that point, they're still growing because they're just being fed by ourselves.
Yeah, and even though you're trying to take something, many things you can take to suppress them, mask them, think they are not there.
Yeah.
They are there, you just don't feel
Absolutely.
them, okay? And you have not changed anything in your head, how you're thinking about these past painful events. And as you said, we become even very busy with our work or house job or anything, okay? Any
Fixing
kind of
other
chores.
people is a good one. We fix other people because they're all
yes,
a problem.
how and it's funny because I used to be that. I used to want to fix other people so I don't have to fix myself.
Absolutely.
So it's
Deflection.
funny that I can say that now because I no longer need to do that. And I like to quickly go through basically what happens, where is the root cause of all these feelings. And if you came and joined us a little bit later, I highly recommend, please come back to the beginning of the video. You will have a lot of understanding why we are at where we are at right now. So you got relationship issues. Most of the mental, emotional problems are coming from relationship issues. Do you agree? Do you see that most people feel worried and down because they were dumped or abandoned or cheated on, betrayed, a divorce was going on, something of a break in a relationship? Do you see that often to be the most important or the number one factor, causing factor?
Yes, and I think included in relationships is things like your environment, employment, local economy, world politics. It's all these sort of things that it's anything that we relate to where there's a relationship connection. It's for me, it's far wider than just people, though. When we're in this state of overwhelm with tension and resistance, we are so short tempered that we actually begin to create closer relationship issues as well, because
Yes.
we become so intolerant because everybody else must fix themselves because it's all their fault.
Yeah. So then you have communication issues, you have assumptions, you have expectations, and you are in conditional love, not unconditional, conditional love. So therefore you are going to experience disappointment, cheating, betrayal, abandonment, and then work issues will come because you don't feel acknowledged ever again. You don't feel acknowledged in your relationship, at work. You don't even acknowledge yourself. And then you have an angry boss on the top of that, giving you, all the shaking every single day to press your buttons. And then, death of a loved ones can happen. And as you said, economical, political changes, loss of financial status, business, and such. It can all happen, and it can all come up with all the tensions. And basically what happens is you want something inside to aid this feeling what's inside. Now, I want to go over and talk about what is this feeling inside once all this happened. I represent this with a big round empty hole of a void.
Yes, absolutely.
It's a void because you start to miss something and you have no idea what you are missing. And as this void is expanding, the tension inside is start to increase because you start to feel that there are more outside of you than inside of you. I don't know if I explained this too in a way. Go ahead.
For me, as each of this happens, you're giving your power away. So this is the void. All that you are, all that we are, and all our brilliance is given away and surrogated onto other people. So they have the control, they have the power, and we become powerless. And at that point, what we tend to do is put so much power in the external forces that those start creating tension on us, because if the people who are supposed to be saving us, because we're victims, are not standing up and doing what's right, that creates more problems. And so we step back because we make ourselves smaller, but the external pressure as we create it becomes greater. And slowly and slowly and slowly, our lives are compressed into a point of no longer feeling that we have any responsibility or any control. Total numbness.
Total
numbness. No flow.
And you said this so well, because inner pressure of the void increases the outside pressure as you shrink into nothing, basically.
Absolutely. And we stop doing things, we disconnect from things, and
I want to put a very big highlight onto this, because you must understand that the moment this void is there, the feeling of I don't like it begins, because it's not a good feeling to miss something, somebody. How many times you are on the phone, I miss you so much. How many songs are there, okay, about the missing and the dripping of the I am nobody without you sort of thing. So you know what I mean. I don't want to bang on the music industry and such, but just be aware, guys, what you are listening to. Are you feeding your void or what?
And I think the other thing for that void is our inner child. And so, the inner child is what nurtures us outwardly. And the more we give our power away, the more that inner child has no voice, has no presence. And that sort of that longing, often, whilst we think it's an external thing, is this internal void of our inner child crying out for attention.
Yes. And so we want to pull in things, outside things, and all kinds of stuff, because we are looking for a spouse. We are looking for a normal partner, because if I am going to have a partner in my life, or if I get married, then all of my life issues, that void, will be fixed. Okay, so I will have a care from outside care. Someone will care for me. Someone will acknowledge me. Someone will give me emotional support. Or if I'm gonna have more money, success and fame, and all that void will shrink and go away. And all just I want is attention, because I want to gain something, because I so don't have. I want things easily to come to me. And on the end, all what I want is peace and calm.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
In a way. And it doesn't happen when you get all those things, and you get even more angry. And what happens is, what's your experience with that? I see three kinds of people on their dreams of their wantings.
Yeah.
It becomes visible halfway the most, and they destroy it, they step back from it. And the second one, they destroy it right at the point of achievement. And the third kind of people is the dream will come true, or the goal, and they very quickly destroy it.
Yeah. And I think each of those is one theme, that mostly at this point of being in this void, is that the manifesting, or where we're looking for, comes from our loss and our lack and our fears and our hate. So we're trying to get away from what we don't like, and there's no focus on what it is we actually want. And so often we have a goal, and we say, let's go, I want a car. And once you got the car, what next?
Yeah, 10 minutes later, I want something else.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I can tell my husband's earlier experiences that once he was passed on the highway with a certain brand of a car, then he actually went back to the dealership and sold his car. He said, I don't want this car anymore. I thought no one can pass me with this car. He did this with motorcycles and such. So just... Okay, so once you have something, this is the constant craving inside you of a missing. This is what the void is doing inside you. You are checking on the internet for something. He does the same. If he found something, then it needs to be the next. If it's not a horse, then it's a car. It's not that, then it's a bicycle. If not that, it's a goat or it's a sheep. Something has to be looked for. A house, a property, of course, that's the bottom line. But see what this void is doing in you, and you are unconscious about this, and it keeps repeating in your career, in your work, in your relationship, in your family, and with your friends. It keeps repeating, and you don't know what to do, right? And that's where we are at. We wanted to actually introduce a topic for you so you can relate to what we are talking about. Because if we are bringing you the solution, then you will say, so when should I apply this solution, right? And the question is here, how long, guys, do you want to live like this?
Absolutely.
Tracy, how long did you carry this tension and your resistances in your life? How many years, and what did you create with that?
I think we're programmed even before birth. We pick up some of the things, you know, basically in the womb, our parents' fears, or particularly the mother's fears during the pregnancy. I think a lot of that comes through, and then you're constantly, you know, making sense of the world by kind of going, oh, well, I'm a woman in a man's world. This is a career that only men do. And so you're building this whole picture of beliefs and values, which actually are not real, but it's just some meaning that you're giving to it. And so from the minute we enter this world, we are creating, and we continue to create this. And we have two choices, because if we're sitting in our head, which is where the ego is, we are just creating things from an egoic point of view. And so, you know, it from the moment we're born, and it carries on until the time we realize that there's another way.
Yeah.
And that other way is so much simpler and so much gentler, but we're not taught it at school. We're not taught it at university. We're not taught it on personal development courses generally.
Yes, yes. And, you know, I wanted to just tell our audience, our viewers, that please take a deep breath and stop blaming yourself, because up to this point, these were your tools.
Yeah.
These are all what you had. So it's not your fault. Okay. So please sit back. When I stopped, when I realized this, and I stopped blaming myself for why I am in the constant relationship battle of always losing out and not able to fulfill that as a harmonious relationship, then I realized these are all my tools, and I need to change my tools. And if you change your tools, then you will have a different result. But the most important question is, take a look at your life right now and say, the next 5 years is 2023 now, 2028. How do you see your life? Do you want exact same things happen again and again and again? Or you really had enough? What are you losing out from your life? Because other people are living that life, but you're supposed to be living. Right?
Yeah.
So then you can make a little comparison, a little contemplation on what you want, and think about, what can I gain if I just learn to use my tension and my resistances, my blockages, to my own gain? So if you can answer these questions, then I invite you to listen to our solution. If you don't want to, please stop the recording here and leave. Go back to your old stuff. And if some point of your life you will remember that these two girls were saying about something, then you come back to this video and watch us. And here I want to introduce you, all of you, Tracy Hill Roberts, and she's a coach, a mentor, an alchemist who helps people through their life transformation as well. Tracy, please add something if I
thanks, Sue. Yeah, that's it. I believe that everything's energy. So if we find the right energy, we can absolutely manifest anything and everything. And so I work particularly at looking at what I call the priority fears that are attached to an outcome. effectively what this is conditioning we have within us that says that, okay, this is what I want, but there's this deep subconscious fear that if I have that, I'll be in danger. And so the whole, everything within us will create an outcome to protect us from having it. And often the cause of them is often something so silly. And I work specifically at identifying that and releasing it, and then helping people build lives on the road that they want to, which is from their heart, which is, you know, connecting through all time and space to get exactly what it is. And, you know, look at get their end results. No fixing, no goals, just the end result you want.
Yes, very important, because the solution will come. And you guys, you know me, my name is Susanna Wojciak-Simon, Dr. Zhu shortly, and I'm a mentor for those who are ready to build meaning in their lives. And I also work with transforming out all those blockages which is in you and turning all that into empowerment, into meaning, so you can live the life what you meant to live in this very life what you have. So without any further ado, let's move over to the solution. I know that you've been waiting for that long enough. So thank you for all your patience for being here. So Tracy already introduced you a very important sentence and expression, and I love that. This is the zero fix zone. So please, Tracy, tell us, because I think this is such a brilliant expression. If you can remember that at the time when it needs to be, then it will be life-changing for you.
Absolutely. I think the best way is to describe it this way. If you're driving along a road, I mean, if you're from Africa, it's very common, and there's an enormous pothole. First time you drive along, you probably land in the pothole. You get out and you travel along. The next time you come along, if you land in that pothole, it's because you're consciously choosing it. The pothole doesn't need to be fixed for you to have a different option, because there's more than one lane. So the minute there's stuff that we don't like that's going on, choose a different outcome. Take a different path. Go on a different lane. And as soon as you know, it's like having a GPS system. If you set the GPS system and it takes you the wrong way, or you get to a place you don't want, decide where you do want. Create another GPS system and go for that. Nothing needs fixing. If I bake a dozen biscuits for you, and then I get distracted, which happens, and I come to you and they're all burnt, let me tell you, I can spend the rest of my life trying to unburn them and make them edible, but I simply can't fix them. Time's gone. We can't fix anything from our past. All we can do is decide on a new end result and go for that. And it's hugely empowering, because that fear, the heaviness of fixing is so debilitating.
Yes.
And it all comes from our head rather than our heart.
And you know, it's very interesting, because on one of my social media portals, I had one of my videos, and this girl was saying to me, I never thought of my past like this, what you are telling me now, that I actually have a choice to think about my past differently. And yes, you have a choice. I also needed to learn that. You also needed to learn that. And everyone here, you have a chance to relearn how to think about your past. And first of all, there is one way to so-called unfix the things which happen to us is with love. And the two bottom line of that is acceptance and gratitude. Mm-hmm. So if you learn to apply acceptance and gratitude on your fears, on your limiting beliefs of I am not good enough, so that means you were able to step back from these thoughts and look at them from the outside and remove them from yourself as yourself, because they are not you. And then once you accept them, you stop fighting with them and wanting something else and hating them and such, and you say to them, thank you for being here, and give them back to the universe. That's when the magic happens.
Absolutely. And I think one of the big things is when thoughts start rising, the first thing to do is acknowledge them and go, okay, I'm acknowledging you. Tell me what it is. Because it's not reality. It is a matrix of energy that's being created by our beliefs and values. And our beliefs and values aren't real. It's just a way that we've decided to sort things. They're different containers that we've created to put things in.
Yes,
And so the
and we
acknowledgement
learn
is the
to
first thing.
sort them.
Absolutely.
And that's the I wanted to highlight this word sorting, because the moment you are going to sort between your feelings and your thoughts, the moment you do that, this is good, this is bad, this is this and that, the moment you do that, you're creating the biggest misery for yourself, and you attach to this misery, you keep roll into this misery. So we are saying the solution again, that if you are going to have this shift of change in your life, you need to learn to accept and be grateful for your fears, your anxieties, your limiting beliefs, because up to this point they served you. They protected you. If you are here watching this video, that means you're still alive. You survived your fears.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah.
And it's a very true thing, because we can all sort. I will use acceptance here in my life and there, but here I won't. So
Absolutely.
listen, if you don't learn to accept and be grateful all the time for everything, and take a look at what can I learn from this, how differently should I be living my life because of that, and you apply it, then all of a sudden no more limitations come, and you will be able to accept your dreams and be grateful for your dreams, because at the moment you don't have your dreams come true, because you don't know what is acceptance and you don't know what is gratitude.
Yes.
So why should your dreams come true?
Absolutely.
You don't know what have you ever seen people, they get something and they don't know how to say thank you? They just okay, and then just walk by. Okay. Yeah. So it's a universal epidemic that we don't know gratitude. We take everything for granted. So the universal solution for that is acceptance and gratitude, the two major energy of love. And if you can't do that for your own body cells, for every single breath, how should you be able to apply it to anything in your life?
I think there's also another part of that we're in a society where when we feel this tension or resistance, we think it needs feeding. So we do it in food, do it in alcohol, do it in narcotics, do it by buying things, do it by being busy. And so none of this actually resolves the tension at all. Because the tension's still there. It's just deflection, constant deflection from what needs to be there. And you're right. You know, I sort of, I feel frustrated. Let me go and get a drink. Well, okay, you've done that, but that frustration and the things that caused it are still there because it hasn't been acknowledged, we haven't accepted it, and we haven't actually created a new path that we do want to be on. What is the end result? How happy do we want to be? How do we want to feel? You know, where do we want to be surrounding ourselves with? How can we connect into our heart, which is what has been divinely gifted to us? Because in our head, we can only store 2,000 things in our head. So we're just reprocessing 2,000 options in different ways. And so is it any wonder that we end up with the same tension, same resistance, and more worryingly, exactly the same outcomes?
Yeah. And you said a very important thing here, which is the most important component for you to be able to apply acceptance and gratitude. And as much as you are shaking from inside and your fears and anxieties don't want you to sit down, you will have to do that and get a positive energy, have to take an effort, make an effort to sit down and be still, close your eyes and just be, just observe your breath, just be, and observe that shaking feeling inside you. And that is where everything begins. And if you can practice this every single day for 5 minutes a day, soon you will learn, you will recognize your thoughts, your feelings, your emotions. And that is the step number one. So you can apply objective observation as a non-reaction or no fixing zone to them.
Absolutely. And I think that is the key, because once we have the stillness, we can observe what's around us. And then in that stillness, we can acknowledge and then accept the things that we need to hear from our hearts and within us. And at that point, the more we practice this, the less we'll have these frantic voices in our heads, because they know that they're going to be listened to. It's like a child tugging on its mother's skirt. Mommy, 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 mommy. And the mum's going, go away, I'm busy, go away, I'm busy. Or in these days, it's, I'm just on my phone. And the child, and then eventually the mother kind of goes, yeah, what do you want? And the child goes, oh, it's okay now, and runs off. You know, the minute we give just that little bit of attention to these things, they're listened to and they disappear. Yeah. So, you know, it feels very scary to begin with when we think that we've got all these thoughts in our head, but just sit with them and go, okay, I've got 5 minutes. Line up, tell me everything you want. I'm not judging it. Just all have you say, and then go play.
Yes, you know, it is a very important point what you brought up for the next, because one of the fears and the biggest fear in us is be silent. So be in the dark, because you will close your eyes, and be alone.
Yeah.
So if you can acknowledge the illusion of this fear and see that the reason why this fear is here, because the fear wants to protect me to stay in this ego-controlled state.
Yeah.
If you acknowledge that, you will be able to sit down, close your eyes, and just observe the shaking, the fears, the pulling of the anxieties and such. And slowly by slowly, you can divert attention to your nostrils and observe your breath, how it feels at the entrance of your nostril. Of course, the mind will keep pulling you left and right. You keep coming back, keep coming back, keep coming back. And if you can do that, slowly by slowly, you will calm down. Because these fears and anxieties, those installments in you who are not you, will lose power on you, because they were accepted.
Yeah.
That's all what they wanted.
Absolutely.
And then as you were showing me, the child is pulling on mommy's skirt, okay? And now you paid attention to them and they say, okay, now I don't want anything.
Yeah.
Okay. So, and they will pass, because it's universal law. Everything which occurred or were created will stay for some times and they will pass. So your creator status is at the moment using your old installments to create all that stuff which is in your life. Or you apply what we were showing to you here, take it really seriously, and you can start consciously creating. And that is the key here, because yes, you have a choice what to create in your life by doing so what we actually took you through. And we know it is not going to happen overnight, because your fears will come again and tell you, what if my life is going to be worse? What if it's going to be more pain than what it is now? Because most of you are not stepping on this journey because you are afraid that it's going to be more painful than what it is now. And it's okay to have the pain, what I know now. I will deal with that, but I cannot take up more pain. A fear is doing that again in your head to keep you away, to step on this beautiful path of conscious creation.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I think that is the, you know, if we go back to alchemy and the alchemists, there were two paths. The one is from our heads, where it's very much rules-based, thoughts and feelings. And the other side, which is where they sort of literally turned lead to gold, was coming from their hearts and connecting with the end result they wanted, and actually using creative tension. Creative tension is a positive thing. It is something where, you know, I've got this and I've got this, and to get this moving, there has to be tension. This is creating, it's pulling something into creation. And that's where we come from our heart and we connect with that incredible power of unconditional love to what it is, the end result we want. And we focus on where we are now and go, okay, what's obvious to me that will move me along, and taking that action steps. So it doesn't have to be a struggle. When we're coming from our heads, it is an absolute struggle.
Yes,
because we're having
the
to
moment
manage
struggle
our
comes,
thoughts,
you
our
have to
feelings,
accept it
emotions.
and be grateful, right? The two things, again, I'm going to keep repeating that, because the moment you realize something is a struggle, you have to watch it, observe it, let it go, and don't go on the pathway which is a struggle. Everything will come to you easily and effortlessly, just like Tracy had this wonderful metaphor what she just showed you, because basically your goal will pull you to it,
if it's
isn't it?
clear
And
enough
that's
and high vibration.
unbelievable.
Yeah. And this is the other thing in that thing, you know, if my goal is not to have fear, then all I'm pulling in is fear, because the universe knows no difference between a can and a cannot.
That's
Want
right.
or do not want. It just knows want.
Because doesn't know the word no, so everything else will be heard there.
Absolutely.
And I would like to add something to this end result thing. Most people are in a difficult state because they are concentrating and focusing on it. Is so difficult. It is so difficult. You are creating difficulty for yourself. That's one. Absolutely. Second is when people say, okay, I am thinking about the end result, my goal. Okay, you will get there a bit faster. And then the third one is when you're not thinking about your goal, but what is the effect of the goal is going to create on your life. Absolutely. Or in your life and on other people's. Absolutely. What is it going to get you? So the moment you shift your focus there, basically all those energies of what you will do with your dream, your dream will pull you to it.
Absolutely. And I think there's a very interesting point there about so often we set goals and our goals come from our head and that expectation of, well, I'm a this sort of person, so I should have a this sort of house and a this sort of thing. But actually, if that isn't what our heart's desire is, we will get to that goal and it will be meaningless and hollow and will feel like a waste of time. And what you're saying is so true. Rather than being attached to a goal, get into the effect of the feeling you want, the end result, because often the end result will lead you in a completely different way. You don't need to have the best Jag. You don't need to have a 17-bedroom house. You don't need to have a list of friends, because actually the end result of how you want to feel and get really connecting with that feeling will give you inspired steps to get there, which may be even more magnificent than you can imagine, because it's all from our heart. Yes. And connecting to the 40 billion parts of information that are out there that we can call in to satisfy that end result that yes. we're after.
You're saying something very important, and I just must say this. I had a conversation with a coach colleague, a young gentleman, and he said he wants to move from this part of the world to that part of the world because he has young children, and these young children will have a better life there and better opportunities there. And I asked a few questions, but I just asked if I may ask a question. Didn't get back reply. However, my questions would be that what kind of value system do you want to raise your children? Are you sure that a better life of a richness, more money will give it to them? What kind of values and beliefs do you want your children to have, so they will live a life of their generation with success? It's not going to be the very same as yours.
Yeah.
So here comes the value system analysis and aligning them with your goals, because if they are not aligned, none of your goals will come true. Or if they come true, you will have a heavy heart, because I didn't want that. I didn't think that this could have come out of it, or this would happen, because you never thought of the economical and ecological values. I mean, ecological examination of your values. Where will it take you? What kind of an effect is going to be the move on your children, on your spouse, on you? Is it only just business and money?
Absolutely.
So this is where it comes in, guys. So very important thing to examine what's in here.
And I think it's a very interesting thing that, you know, there's the attitude of what I need when I've got a better house. It's the when I. If we've got a when I, know you're coming from your egoic agenda, because that's coming from lack. You know,
that's the void. That's the void.
That's the void. And so when we're looking at the end result, it's about, okay, when you're in that result, what you would do. And it's very interesting, because there's this clash between, okay, you know, if you're in that end result, what would you have? Well, we'd have lots of time as a family. We'd be on the beach. We'd have a simple life, you know, go camping, explore nature, be in a nice community. And these sort of things come up time and time and time again. And then you have a look at where the goals are. Have a new car, earn X amount of money, be an international status person. And you kind of go, okay. So when you're doing this, so you're traveling for 9 months of the year away from the house, you've got a house that cost you X amount of money, you're earning this amount of money. And then at the end of it, they'll go, I haven't got any time.
That's right. And it's so important what you mentioned here, because I know we are a little bit getting closer to our closing time. However, I think it's important to say that we are not much of an entertainers. And we want to point this out, that we are bringing you topics which are pushing your buttons. And we want that, because everybody here is bringing you content which is, you know, caressing your void of your wantings more, fulfilling all your desires of you don't need any of that. So we want to be real here and bring you real content for real growth, for real life. And I see now more youngsters. We live in a very small village, 600 people, and just met this lovely family with 2 children. And they moved here 2 years ago. And the girl 14, the boy 10. They don't have phones. And they are proud that they don't have phones. And mom is telling the boy that, you know, everyone has a phone. And she said, you know what? Be a rebellion. Bring a book to school.
Yeah.
And then the boy was saying, look at my classmates. They are all there. Look at it, just pushing on their phone, and they can't talk. There is no conversation can be had with them.
Absolutely.
So what do you want your children to have? More money, more gadgets, or know how to be connecting to nature? To be happy that they grow up with togetherness.
Yeah. Have time with parents, have quality time. Quality time doesn't need posh restaurants, it doesn't need first-class tickets. It's just stillness and allowing the children to connect with who they are and be able to do whatever their heart's calling is. And it's the same for us. You know, we're children of the universe. And if we begin to follow our heart's callings, we begin to create that ripple effect of more peace on earth, because we are self-contained. Nobody has any responsibility for us other than ourselves. And we learn that it's okay, we can have tension, and that tension, we will use tension to create the positive outcomes we want. And the resistance that turns up, we'll stand and say, okay, hear my voice. Say what you want. I will face this resistance. I will acknowledge and accept it. But that's where it ends, because I've got an end result I'm going for, and that's towards my heart's desires. And I'll be comfortable with that creative tension of the stillness and inspired action, which will allow it to come to me in flow and ease. And it really is as simple as that.
I have a very useful metaphor for those of you who are listening and taking this seriously, and I hope you do. And once you have a fear, you can pull this aside, like you pull a curtain and say, okay, you want to stay here? You stay here. I'm going. Okay, so you just do your stuff and tell your fear, you want to stay, stay. Or anxieties, your panic, you want to stay here, stay. Welcome if you want to stay, but I'm going.
Absolutely.
And you do your stuff. And that's how your low mood or laziness, you put it aside and you get up and go out for your walk or start moving and do all the stuff that you always wanted to do, because it's, you know, you have this one life to live, and do the best of it. And I brought here something, look.
Aww.
It's from our Christmas tree. So I put it out and I said, I have to bring this to this video to make sure that you remember everything has to be managed with love and acceptance and gratitude. Your fears, your angers, your hatreds, all of them just want a little love from you, acceptance and gratitude, and then you carry on. So thank you so much, Tracy, for being here. Is there anything else you would like to add which came to your mind through this little talk?
I think that the takeaways for people are to be still and listen to whatever's inside you. Listen to your chatter. Be aware, and there's no fixing. Just choose a different path and decide on that end result from your heart. And to know that we are powerful creators, and that creative tension can be your best friend. And that resistance does not need fixing. It needs acknowledge, acceptance, and being told thank you, but I'm not going to be entertained by you any longer.
That's it. That's it. So that is so wonderful. I'm bringing back my heart here, because last message is be brave, to love, to express your love to your hates, to your angers, to your wantings, and watch our videos further. I've been going through this topic a lot, so you find a lot of things on my YouTube, on Facebook, even my TikTok channel is there, very surprisingly. And you find us everywhere. You find it, Tracy, also everywhere. But here you can connect. You have any questions of any sorts, you want to write us in private, you are welcome to do that. If you don't want to put it into comment, I found this most people prefer. And you are having our allowance. Please write us. We are offering you our help. Absolutely. And that is a 15-20 minutes conversation can change your life, and we are happily giving this away for you as a gift. So please do that. So again, thank you for being here, for all your times and your love. So we are sending our loves to you all over the world. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.